Welcome to a YouTube exclusive video for the podcast Hold Up, Let Me Call My Sis. I'm your girl, Jamaica Pogue, affectionately known as Deconstructing Neuro, one half of the hosting duo, hosted with my big sister, LaMia Radiant. This is a YouTube exclusive video from the episode that we recorded on July 4th, 2025. If you guys listen to the most recent podcast episode, you'll get a little bit more information as to why we have these YouTube exclusive videos, and you'll also be able to catch up on what we've been up to lately. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And as always, thanks so much for stopping by and spending a little bit of time with us today. I hope you enjoy. Hey, sis.
Hello, sis. What up?
What's giddy? And hello to everybody. Welcome back to Hold Up, Let Me Call My Sis. I'm your girl, Jamaica Pogue, affectionately known as Deconstructing Neuro.
And I'm LaMia Radiant.
Okay. She's giving hair toss. Toss.
We just got out of the shower, honey. We've just refreshed. Yes, we are actually recording this on the 4th of July as well. So, try to relax out here. Always working. Listen.
It's not even just that. This right here is a particularly somber 4th of July.
Really? Why? I mean, what?
You didn't hear about the bill that passed?
Oh, well, I heard about it, but I don't. Last I heard that it passed, and before that, I heard they were like reading the whole thing, and I was just like, I don't really.
It passed without any changes being made to it, so them delaying it so that they can read it didn't change the outcome.
What's even on the bill? I don't really know.
Basically, it's major cuts to Medicaid, to SNAP, which is food stamps for people who don't know.
Yeah.
Major cuts to a lot of public services so that they can funnel billions of dollars into ICE. They built these concentration camps, starting with Alligator Alcatraz / Alligator Auschwitz.
And it explicitly says that the money's going to go to these things, and it still got passed.
Yeah, because they claim that there's also going to be no taxes on tips and no taxes on overtime. But there's even caveats with that. So, basically, if you work overtime, that money can't get taxed. And if you are a tipped worker, your tips don't get taxed. But only up to a certain amount of money. So, if you make more than, I think it's if you make more than, $25,000 or something like that, then you don't get that break.
Wow. Also, the fact that we are willing to allow basic human rights be subjugated to this or whatever, or be taken away or whatever, for a few extra dollars. I don't, because I used to bust tables and work off tips. I get it, wanting more money in your pocket, but at the end of the day, it's really not going to add up to the value of someone's human rights.
Right.
The fact that we're doing that, because the thing is it starts with these people, these immigrants. You can just feel a way about that and feel indifferent or whatever. But what is it that I think it was Martin Luther King who said it. I think if we aren't all, if it's not freedom for all, it's not freedom type thing. You know what I mean? So whatever they're going to do,
we're not free until we're all free.
All free, yeah. If whatever they're doing to them, best believe they will find a reason to do it to you.
Absolutely.
Poor people, anybody of color, don't. It's just a couple of bills away from. Oh well, who else is was born here illegally? They're only a 2/3 a citizen type stuff,
right? And they're already
bringing that stuff back.
They're already trying to do that by attacking things like birthright citizenship. So it's oh well, yeah, just because you were born here, but your parents were illegal, so you're getting deported. And then they're not actually deporting people, or they're not planning to deport people. They're planning to take them prisoner and force them to work in these concentration camps. Like, they're literally trying to bring back slavery because the people at the top only got there by being inhumane and have an insatiable need to consume. Like, they have so much money, more money than anybody could spend in a lifetime. A couple of people could single-handedly end many world issues.
Right. And they're only showing us how they've never actually worked hard to do anything. This is how they've gotten everything they've gotten, is by exploiting the labor of other people.
Exactly. And even if you came from a low place and wound up getting and working your way into those places, a lot of the times, and I'm not saying it's a blanket statement, but I feel like a lot of the times it's because you did some really fucked up shit to be able to be allowed in that club. Because we see it even on a small level when you're talking about everyday workplaces where, like, people will do some fucked up shit just to get one rung above you in the hierarchy of, like, a fucking call center. Like, you realize you're just like you're doing customer service. Like, why are we stepping on each other's necks here? So imagine the higher the stakes, or the more the prestige, the more likely you are to just be basically a sociopath. Like,
yeah, for real.
And this is why it's like I was talking to mommy, actually, and I was telling her about all these things that was happening. And she was just like, but why would they do that when they're supposed to do this and the other? And I was like, that's the exact reason why. Like, yes, they're supposed to represent us. They're supposed to do things that are supposed to protect us, but we're not being governed by people who actually care. We're being governed by people who have wormed their way into these positions of power so that they can control the things for them and their club. That's it.
It's very black or white thinking, which actually that video I sent you is going to tie into what my hate to love is right now.
Okay.
That person explicitly said, like, it's crazy, like the stuff that you often talk about with neurotypicals is literally like those are the things how he describes himself. That it's very much like, I don't understand the problem. Like,
very much. Very much lacking in empathy. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just like they get the concept of empathy, but it's kind of like they're devoid of they're just, I don't know. Anyway, we'll get there. We went in really hard, real straightforward, real quick.
Well, look, this is the catch-up session, and this is what's happening. This is the 4th of July, the 249th anniversary of our country, blah, 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 right? And on this day, that bill is being signed. And I find that very ironic that the birth and the death of our nation happened on.
Come on. And what did they say? Empires usually either fall or there's
they only last 250 years.
Right. I mean, obviously empires last longer than that, but there's something implodes. Because China's old as hell. You know what I mean? Right. Like, but I guess there's the saying that things get unraveled around this time.
Yes, right? Empires usually don't last longer than 250 years. Especially when they have. So I saw something that, and then we'll get into Watch and Dancer. Yeah. But I saw something that, like, it blew my mind when it made me when I like connected it to like what's going on. And so exponential growth or infinite growth in a finite environment in biology is called cancer. Because that's what cancer is. It's like infinite growth in a finite environment, which is your body. And so they use things like chemo to try to target it, keep it from spreading, shrink it, kill it. But in biology, a system that has infinite growth in a finite environment is called a cancer. And that's what capitalism is. Capitalism is a cancer. It is infinite growth in a finite environment. We have finite resources. We have finite space. And if you have people who are a literal cancer to this world running things, which in our country and in a lot of, countries that are aligned with us, or that have capitalism at their core, they are a cancer because they are run by people who can never get enough. And so they're going to keep finding ways to extract what they want to sustain themselves
at the detriment
from the body, exactly, to the detriment of the body, to the point where it literally quits on you.
AKA, get y'all passports, get up out of here.
And speaking of passports, you see my background?
I know. Oh, yes. Lighten the mood a little bit.
Exactly. You see my background? Mentally, I'm already here because I take off in less than 2 days. Actually, this time in 2 days, I'm going to be on somebody's beach.
Man, I wish.
I'm excited.
And somebody's beach that's not U.S. soil, that part.
Exactly, yeah, that part.
That part. My God.
Well,
sounds like a good time.
We're all doing great.
Also, last part, I guess, to this, or we'll probably come back around to it, but I saw somewhere, it might have been Amanda Seales that put up that Florida is delaying their midterms, which is a sign that they are already trying to keep this. Like, I really do feel bad for people who have any trust in the government and think that, like, there's nobody in government fighting against this. There isn't. Maybe one, two, but even these Democrats, and they're not.
Yeah,
they're on board because they're either being threatened or they believe in the status quo. They're trying to uphold a status quo that is clearly not working.
Right.
Or maybe they're getting kickbacks from it all too. Maybe they got a stake in it for themselves.
I'm thinking it's a combo platter and it's all.
It is. It definitely is a combination. Yeah. But there's nobody. This is what they wanted to do collectively.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like there was no fight from the Democrats this time, like none at all. Like they just sat back and it's crazy. You can't play by the same rules when the other side has completely thrown out the rule book. Like they are not playing by the rules, but the Democrats still want to take the quote unquote moral high ground. Like when they go low, we go high. No, when they go low, we go to hell. Like I'm saying, like that's what it means to be a true opposition party, and we don't have an opposition party. Like they are literally two sides of the same coin. The only thing with this nigga is that it accelerated everything because they no longer had to put on airs or pretend like these things weren't happening or pretend like, say if Kamala did win, pretend like they are progressive, have a prettier face behind the scenes, still have these horrible foreign policies. Because don't forget, Biden gave billions of our dollars to Israel. So I'm just saying, like, the whole system is fucked. And that's why it needs to be people outside of the system. That's why I don't know if you heard of Zoran Mamdani. Get into him. Get into
Well, send me something.
I will. But real quick, he is, he won the Democratic primary for mayor in New York.
In New York, yeah. Okay, yes. Yes.
He gives me hope. Okay, I'll just say that he gives me hope.
People like that need protection, though.
Absolutely. But he gives me hope, especially in a city like New York, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've seen any of the clips about the debate before, like with all of the other Democrats that were running for the ticket, whatever. But this is how you know that shit is too interwoven between us and Israel. There was they asked each of the candidates, as mayor, what would be your first international trip? And it was 9 people up there, including Zoran. 8 of them said, "Oh, I would visit Israel."
Oh my God, lies and deception.
Exactly, I would visit the Holy Land. Of course, I would have to visit the Holy Land.
Lying.
And so Zoran was like, he's like, I would just stay in New York. He was like, I am running to represent New Yorkers in New York. I'm not running to represent Israelis. And then so they double down and talk about, so, well, do you think that Israel has the right to exist?
Oh my God. What the dumbass question.
It's really dumb. And he was like, yeah, I mean, like, they exist. Like, I can't say that
everyone has a right to exist. How about
like,
that?
But they, and then they were like, they prodded them more. They were like, oh, do you believe it should exist as a Jewish state? And he was like, I believe it should exist as a state with equal rights.
Boom. Ain't it funny how they like to what's the word I'm looking for? So it's like, oh, Israel has a right to exist, right? It's very much like Israel's lives matter. But then when we say, no, all lives matter, it don't apply here. Because that's what we're saying. Everybody's life matters.
And to go back to that, the paraphrase MLK quote, the reason why we say Black Lives Matter is because, like, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter, because we are literally at the bottom of the totem pole.
And but when you want to co-opt it, like y'all don't want us to exist, unlike what y'all saying about
Israel. They treated us like we were livestock. They literally treated us like livestock. Not only did they sell us, but they bred us, they ate us, they used our skin and our hair for leather and stuffing and chairs. They literally, and you think that when I think about that, right? I'm no longer confused as to how we are in 2025, and there are still enough people out here who think just because they're white that they are inherently superior to anybody of color. And whenever they are confronted with that, which is often whenever there's an even playing field, whenever they have to interact with people who aren't as mediocre as them, they project their insecurity onto the other person as a problem. Mm-hmm. And then make everybody else the problem, keep them out, restrict their access so that they can maintain the illusion of them being the standard. When in reality, they can't even compete whenever they have a level playing field. And they've taught this to their kids, who taught it to their kids all there. So we're in 2025. We're what? 160 years ago was when the Emancipation Proclamation, went into effect. I believe it was 1865.
And that's emancipation. We're not even talking about Jim Crow. That ended. We got people still alive that were
that were under Jim Crow. Exactly.
So what are we?
So you're talking about at most 4, maybe 5 generations. Because let me think. I know on daddy's side at least, granddaddy's parents were born in 1888 and 1892. And I remember that just because it's 100 years before me and CJ's years. So that makes it easier to remember.
Interesting.
So if you think about that, that means granddaddy's grandparents were probably born, or because our family, that side of the family comes from Florida area, right? So they definitely were on plantations and shit like that. But yeah, if you think about that, that's 4 generations from me as a millennial.
Yeah.
That were actually slaves. So on the flip side, think about the motherfuckers that were the enslavers and those who were
right.
So exactly. So if I know somebody who knew somebody that was a slave, I knew granddaddy and he knew his grandparents. So that meant that he directly knew somebody who directly was a slave. Right. Yeah. And then he raised my dad, who raised me. So on the flip side, think about the slave owners. Yeah. Yeah. And the slave catchers. and you follow that same progression.
And now they're in Congress. They're in the police departments.
And some of them are closer to, because most of them motherfuckers is geriatric as fuck. They're 80. Right. So they are older than my dad. So you're talking about it might have been their grandparents. Yeah. That were actually own people as property.
Yep. And that's not a mentality you can just gloss over and cover up and pretend it never happened and think people are going to change. Right. That's what they want us to think. Well, we changed the laws.
Yeah, but it did nothing on paper and on the surface. But if you look at it, and we talked about this before, the 13th Amendment did not abolish slavery. It abolished slavery unless it is for the punishment of a crime. And then they're making people illegal.
Yep.
They're
making
making, they
all kinds of
started,
things illegal that should not be illegal.
even before this, it was like homelessness was being, vagrancy,
right,
getting locked up, and now it's just, oh well, you're in this country illegally, or we suspect you of being in this country illegally. No due process. You're just thrown in this fucking concentration camp.
Even for addicts to be considered criminals was always weird to me. I'm like, yes, maybe the drug dealers, even though that's another conversation, because economically, what choice do they have sometimes? But to make addicts, like, you can get put in jail and stuff for being on the drug. Like, it's weird. It's really weird.
Because the criminal justice system is not, it's not reformative, it's punitive. Mm-hmm. Yep. Which obviously, like, they don't give you the tools or even treat you like a human. Like, the way they treat us out here is like great compared to how people are treated in prison. Like, people look at them like they're garbage, like they're trash. The people who get attracted to being corrections officers are usually bullies who couldn't make it as regular cops, which is why they deputized a bunch of fucking SEALs to become ICE. And now you see why they're so aggressive.
Wow.
But we can go on and on about this, but yeah.
That might have to be the next topic, but Lord, I mean, this is heavy shit, y'all.
And we gotta talk about it.
If we do talk about it, I do want to have some like, okay, what's the plan? Like, how do you, what's next steps now that you see what it is? How do we as a community, like, because I get it. Some people, I'm not a like protester type bitch. Like, I'm scared of that shit. I'll be honest. I'm not about to be on the front line doing. I'm more like, how do I plan behind the scenes? Mm-hmm. Organize, do something like that might take more time. It's not so front facing, but like will create stability within this chaos. For our people. And if that's like organizing to get the fuck out of here, I'm on that. Like, I guess I'm more like a flight is my response to this flight. I'm not a fight responder. I'm gonna get the fuck out. Actually, I'm a freezer. Actually, which I noticed, I freeze up a little bit, but I think it's only so that I can like figure out what's going on. I kind of get very paralyzed when I'm around chaos, or if I'm being attacked or anything like that. But once the next phase for me is like, okay, preventative steps, or how to just do better going forward, whatever. I'm looking at solutions. Like, right. And if that means getting up out of here, then that's what it means.
Look, I'm not opposed to that. Again, y'all see my background. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what do I even really want to come back? I didn't even leave yet.
Listen, that's real. One-way ticket, honey.
I mean, I almost did that back in when the last time I traveled. If I didn't have that job to come back to, I was about to say, I was like, I could stay over here for a while. Yeah, it's looking lovely. But
well, my baby boy swear he Brazilian, so we could go out there and we could just live there. He swear his ancestors is Brazilian. Who knows? But okay, so what is our watcher and dancer topic again today?
To check out the full episode for our podcast and previous episodes, make sure you check us out here on YouTube, as well as your favorite podcasting platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and wherever pods are cast. Make sure you come back next time for another chat with my big sis, and stay blessed.